No more,
And I'll still be good.
absolutely nothing confusing.
Awesome, thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to begin here in a few moments. If you could silence your cell phones. And council members, ensure that your microphones are turned off. All right, good evening. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Today is a committee of the whole meeting for Barberton City Council. Before we get started, though, we do have individual committee meetings this evening, and we'll just jump right in with street, sidewalk, and lighting with Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to call the Street, Sidewalk, and Lighting Committee to order. It is June 3rd, 2024 at 6:01 p.m. We are in council chambers. Everybody in my committee is present, as well as the rest of council and others noted on my sheet. Today we don't have any requests for legislation. We don't have anything pending. I wanted to give some brief updates for Worcester Road West and the street resurfacing program. Today, some of you guys may have noticed that barrels went out and the street is down to one-way westbound traffic. It will be that way until October 2025. It's going to be westbound the whole time. One of the updates I gave, I said it wrong. Please excuse me for saying it wrong. When it changes over to the other side, you're still only going to be able to go out of Barberton. You're still only going to be able to go west. So I think when I was having my meetings, I may have misunderstood that, but just wanted to let you guys all know that it's never coming back into Barberton until it's completely finished. Moving on to the street resurfacing program, the contract is not back yet from Carvo, so should be back this week. Once that comes back, we'll have the city will have the pre-contract meeting, which is setting expectations. They'll then deliver letters to residents, put up signs that says this is your tax dollars that work, this is your issue 8 going to work. Target date to start that is going to be the beginning of July. That should hopefully, running into not any big major problems, take about a month to finish up. And then lastly, State and Worcester closure is still on track to go down to one lane into Barberton June 5th. And that should go from June 5th to early July. So not quite as long as Worcester Road West. So that's good news. But also trash. The trash trucks let me back up a little bit, talk about Worcester Road West. Trash trucks are going to still be Monday, Tuesday on your respective date. And they're going to do one truck, a rear loading truck. So trash will be picked up throughout this closure. So I'll open up to discussion. Any questions, discussion? Anything from my committee?
No, I think you covered it.
Perfect.
Really well.
Anything from?
I would just add that there's not much movement. There's not much of a status update on South Van Buren. The crews are still down south, moving the utility poles down there, as we reported last week. There's a few workers out still, but until those poles are relocated, somewhat limited what they can do. So it's still moving forward.
Perfect.
I'll give an update. They're still down there, working on some poles in southern states.
Excellent. All right. So anyone else have anything? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that. I'll second that.
Oh, all right, I got it backwards. Can you cheat on me? All right, we are adjourned at 6:05.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Next up is Environmental Health and Social Services with Mrs. Hager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Environmental Health and Social Services is meeting this evening, June 3rd, 2024, at 6:05 p.m. in council chambers. All members of my committee, myself as chair, Shorter Griffin, Taylor Thompson, and Justin Greer present, along with all other council members and guests as noted on my sheet. We have no request for legislation or pending legislation. We do have a speaker this evening. Bob Moorhead is going to speak. June is National Scleroderma Awareness Month, so he is going to speak about exactly what scleroderma is.
Hello. I'm going to do a quick change of hat here because I'm going to be talking to you obviously as a representative of Ohio's finest local news source, but as a sufferer from scleroderma. Scleroderma is a progressive, debilitating autoimmune condition. In the United States, there are only about 100,000 people that have it. Of those 100,000 people, 80% are women. Also of that 100,000, about 60% are minorities. It should be abundantly clear to everybody observing that I am not a black woman, so I won a lottery 3 times over. No one knows really what causes it. Best guess, and it is a guess, is that some environmental factor triggers a response in somebody genetically predisposed already. Now, in my family, I can only find one close relative with an autoimmune disease. That's a first cousin with rheumatoid arthritis. So, you know, what gene that was, who knows? So what is it? Well, the most obvious symptom is, like the name says, scleroderma, hard skin. My skin is hard. It's tight. I can't bend my wrists, open or close my hands. I tell people I've got Barbie arms. But that's the least of my worries because it is a systemic disease. It is in my lungs. It is in my digestive tract. It is not in my heart or kidneys yet, but those are under threat. I have to be monitored every year to make sure that it's not there. Because what's happening is my immune system is attacking connective tissues everywhere and replacing healthy tissue with scar tissue. There is no cure. They have, by chance, settled on a treatment that has halted progression. It hasn't progressed on me for a year and a half. This is good news. Bad news is the damage that's already done, there's nothing in the world that's going to fix that. So why speak to you here? Well, it's rare as heck. The country has 330 million people in it. Only 100,000 of them have scleroderma. Honestly, if you go through Barberton, I don't think you're going to find anybody else in the whole town that has it. I think I'm the only one. So, being rare, it's forgotten. People don't know about it. I had never heard about it till I got it. And out of sight, out of mind. So it doesn't get funded. If there's ever going to be a cure for the thing, people need to be aware of it. People need to pay to fund it. Am I asking you for anything? Nah. If you feel like it, there is a National Scleroderma Foundation. Yeah, drop them a dime. It could help. Any questions?
Right here.
Yeah.
What age does it usually start at?
Any age. It's tragic as heck. I've got people in my online support group, 11-year-old girls with scleroderma. I'm sitting here, a 61-year-old man, and going through what I'm going through. It breaks my heart that an 11-year-old girl is going through this. Yeah.
What are some of the symptoms starting off? What caused you to go get it checked out?
Yeah, well, you know how they tell you whenever you get some unusual swelling to go see your doctor because it could be the sign of something serious.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, it was around, a little after Easter in 2021, and I started getting this weird swelling and burning in my feet and ankles. And it's like, well, this probably isn't good. Went to my doctor to check it out, and she was stumped. She thought maybe I overindulged in Easter ham, and let's face it, I did. So she told me to watch my diet, watch the salt intake, and they'd keep an eye on it. Well, we kept an eye on it, and it just kept getting worse. And then, started getting in my hands and arms. And it was, she's a nurse practitioner. She had no clue, So God bless her, she sent me for an autoimmune panel, and they found a highly elevated ANA. And so that got me a rheumatologist referral. The rheumatologist ran a panel, and it was scleroderma. And maybe I'm a 4-time winner because it's the nastiest form you can get.
Wow.
And yes, left unchecked, it can be fatal. Because like I said, my heart and my kidneys are threatened. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for, go ahead.
So are you taking medication to help with these symptoms at all?
Yeah. I mean, I got one of those old people pill organizers now.
Are you in pain?
Constantly. Sorry. Yeah. Tramadol keeps it so I can move. It's like that morning Tramadol. It's like squirting WD-40 in the hinges of a garden gate. I don't creak after about 20 minutes.
Well, thanks for being here and sharing your story. I had never heard of it before.
Yeah.
I just heard of it from Bob Saget's sister passed away from it.
Yeah.
They actually did a movie about it.
Yeah, well, God bless the medical community that despite the fact that it's underfunded and underaware, treatments still have progressed. So since her time, the treatments are a lot better, and the prognosis for surviving it is much better. Because that was what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so in the last 20 years, treatment's come a long way, and hopefully it goes a lot farther. Maybe someday they'll actually cure it. Who knows?
That would be wonderful. Any questions from the gallery?
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be your news representative again.
Thank you so much, Bob. Okay. There any miscellaneous discussion from my committee or the body? From the gallery? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
And we are adjourned at 6:14.
Thank you, Mrs. Hager. Next up is planning, annexation, and codes with Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning, Annexation, and Codes. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024, 6:15 in council chambers. The committee is present, which consists of Councilors Thompson, Harris, President Greer, and myself as chair, and others noted. Once again, we have nothing. So, do I have anything from the committee? Body? Gallery? Mayor, Mr. Teodecki, Mr. Shreve, anything? We hadn't taken a wrecking ball next door yet, or?
Sir.
Chair.
No, Mr.
President has a question.
Do we have an update on the development code?
I don't even see Commissioner here, and I have been provided none.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Chair.
The department head, any more info than that? All right.
I think Pete said it's not going to get held up by not having a director.
I don't Let's see, representative from that department here to
No.
director?
Ms. Eisman.
There is Fulton Bennett has been assigned the planning commission appointed him as interim until the position is filled.
Thank you. Nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. We adjourned at 6:16.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. Last but not least, Finance and Personnel, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to bring the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024, 6:16 PM here in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, which includes myself as chair, Mr. Heidick, Mr. Griffin, and Mr. Greer. All other council members are also present, as well as guests as noted on my sheet. We have a few requests for legislation, the first being a letter from Mayor William Judge requesting a resolution supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial AM 250. Emergency wording in one reading is requested. Are there any questions about this?
Quick question.
Yep.
Are we planning on doing anything for that as a city? I had to look up what it is today, as a matter of fact, but.
A lot of the projects or programs are being handled by the state. This is kind of, if this gets passed, approved, and we'll send this down to the state. We'd like to be a community recognized for supporting this. I'm not sure if they have plans, like if you recall where they paint on the side of barns and buildings, the state, if they're gonna do anything like that, we'd like to be able to show our support for the state.
We'll have to build a barn.
You'll have to build a barn.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to call?
I'll make that motion.
In a second?
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a letter from Jeremy Flaker, Finance Director, requesting legislation to authorize the mayor to enter into a one-year renewal contract with Wicker Insurance Company. The request is attached. Emergency wording is requested as it needs to pass by June 29th. Are there any questions? That's pretty simple. Hearing none, can I have a motion to call, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. In a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Next up, we do have an appointment on the agenda. However, it's been requested to hold it until June 17th when they can be present. So we're just gonna keep that in committee for now. I will go ahead and open this up for miscellaneous. From anybody? Yes, Mr. Hadley.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor or Mr. Tedecki, did the state grant come through to knock the building down next door?
We haven't heard yet. We're still kind of working through the process with the design review board.
But has the
We
grant?
haven't heard back yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything from the gallery for finance? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Thank you, and a
I'll
second.
that.
All right, we are adjourned at 6:19.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our individual committee meetings for this evening. I do know that there's public speakers, so give me, we'll make it quick. We'll just take like a 1-minute break and come back. give the guy seconds, he takes minutes.
It's his birthday.
Yeah, Rob.
He is 80 today.
I know, I thought about that after the fact.
And I only have like 25 candies.
Just put 8.
Try to design an 8.
No, just put
There's 6.
too bad he's going 8, 0.
You're thinking of big old wax candles.
Right.
See if Jamie can swing by the Dollar Tree on her way. She can't. Directionally, it's closed.
Yeah, I was just curious, say, do you want me to get killed?
That was the man's man.
I didn't know if you had another one on that side of town.
No.
We're going to have a meeting there with the VW.
It has to be. You know, I'm just.
Yeah, I had somebody ask for a lesson on just that.
We only go over like our last meetings, right?
And I'm just.
I don't know why this week always throws me off.
Short is special today, so don't.
He is
get on him.
Shorter's always special, guys.
I think we should sing. I think we should sing "Happy Birthday."
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Are we back up? Yep. Okay. Oh, boy.
Well, you've only got to be a minute.
I know.
He was.
My fault. All right. Today's June 3rd, 2024. This is a committee meeting of Barberton City Council. I call this meeting to order at 6:23 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Loudest one I've heard. All right, we're going to start with citizens addressing council. When I call your name, you have 5 minutes to speak. Please step up to the railing, state your name, address, and reason for speaking. Just keep in mind that council will not answer back to you. And if there's anything that you want to ask of council or want to get a response from council, you guys are more than welcome to stay till after the council meeting to interact with them or reach out to them by email. So we'll start with Mr. Morrison.
All right, thanks. I know I spoke a couple weeks ago about Worcester Road West, and it had to do with the salon. And looking back, I did see some updates, I think, throughout the meetings when I looked back on YouTube, rewatched some of the stuff, and I think Emily had given some updates about what was going on that we had missed. But I think a bigger concern for us, too, is we have a bar downtown, and all the traffic leaving town versus coming into town is a concern for us. And I know that ODOT has spoken to us and said that that's their detour, basically. ODOT put the detour together to stay on their roads and whatnot. But I guess the request by us would be, is there anything to do for local traffic? Because right now the detour sends everybody outside of Barberton. So anybody that was coming to do anything, whether shopping, bars, restaurants, whatever, if you come up to Johnson Quarters, it's going to send you to Norton with other options, in my opinion, that they can stop at, aside from a 15-minute detour coming down. I think it goes down by the Indian, down Worcester Road, and then back into downtown, which is pretty long. I think people tend to do something different by then, or I do. If you send me on a detour that long, I might go do something else. If I was going to go to Giant Eagle, I might go to Acme. If I was going to come down to, one of the bars downtown, I might end up at Finney's or something like that. It takes you through all them other areas and not even in the same city, which is a little frustrating. But and I know it's ODOT that put it together, but is there anything, I know you can't answer me, but is there anything we can do to put like a local detour together or something like that? Because I know from what they had said, Hudson Run was an option for a while, and I know that project ain't gonna happen for a little while from what they had said, so I don't know all the details. They said that was a county project versus a state project, and when it's gonna be done. So is there any way to keep people in town, I guess, on a detour, a local detour? I know, and I don't know if it's a legality thing that you can't go against ODOT, I'm not sure, but is there something that can be done to keep, people in town? That makes sense. So that's kind of one of our biggest concerns right now, versus sending them to our neighbors to do other things. But that's about it. I think that's about it. So that was just one of our biggest concerns. So, and I know we're investing a lot into downtown with Main Street and trying to do events and everything else, and then to circumvent that is kind of frustrating. And like I said, I know it's ODOT to put it together. It wasn't like that, but is there something else that we can do locally? I know as business-wise, what's that? Yeah, the signs at Johnson Corners to take Hudson Run or something, or, right now the signs at Johnson Corners to send you down Cleveland Maslin to Norton Avenue, Worcester Road, and then back around to downtown, that's a long detour, in my opinion, to do stuff. So is there anything we can do to kind of do something there? Even us, I know we put maps on Facebook for our customers and stuff like that, but as a city, it'd be nice. And I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at.
So, thank you, Mr. Moore. Are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I might keep rambling.
Council can't respond during this segment. However, I do know that there are council members that would like to respond and talk about it. So, if you stick around until, it shouldn't be too much longer.
That's fine.
You're more than welcome to chat with them.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, next up is Ms. Dobbins. Again, please state your name, address, and reason for speaking.
Good evening. I'm Maria Prinzo Dobbins. I live at 874 Laurel Circle in the Austin Estates area. I've lived in Barberton for over 30 years since moving here with my parents from what was then Franklin Township, so that kind of takes you back a little bit. But since then, my husband and I have built 2 homes in Austin Estates for the same reasons my parents made the move: city water, sewer, sidewalks, and regulations in place intended to protect people's property values. Until recently, I couldn't imagine any other place I would rather live. About a month ago, the house next door to us at 882 Laurel Circle sold, and our new neighbor from Cleveland introduced himself, telling us he has 2 pit bulls, and informed us he would be placing a 6-foot solid wooden fence over as much of his property as possible to give his dogs as much room as they could. This affects about 4 to 5 adjacent property owners, as we all sit really close together up there. The house next door to me, the one I'm talking about, sits at an angle, and it has a very small backyard and a rather larger side yard, which kind of comes up next to me. But what we are getting right now looks to be like a 6-foot wooden dog run. There is also a swale that runs along the back of several properties and into the drain in my backyard. We see quite a bit of flooding in that ditch during heavy rains. At least it seems the dog run is staying in front of that ditch. The city's code under 1250.07 fences, section A, purpose, it says the regulations in this section are intended to promote safety and security, protect neighborhood character and property values, and preserve the visual appearance of the city. I just don't see how a 6-foot wooden dog fence would be visible, that's visible from all kinds of angles, including from the front of the house, protects neighborhood character and property values in any way. I called the building department with my concerns, naturally. I asked a lot of questions, and after jotting down the notes of my conversation with Jeff, I shared the information with some of our neighbors because it sounded like good news for us. Jeff also informed me that I would be off to a really bad start with my new neighbor if I did not sign the paper requesting the permit, the one that all the adjacent property owners have to sign. 1 week later, I called Jeff with additional questions and at the same time attempted to confirm what I had written down the week prior. Not one thing was the same. It was all contradictory information to what he had previously told me. He then invited me to his office, and I met with him the next day. When I arrived, he did not recall having spoken with me previously 2 different occasions. I again explained to him what the fence would mean to our property values if it was placed as proposed. This is due to what I believe are unique property lines. We are on a cul-de-sac with a couple of streets that abut our back and side yards. Jeff's solution to my problem was that I beat the new neighbor to the punch and put up my own fence first. He also mentioned we could maintain the neighbor's fence on our side to our liking. And at least the new fence would block any wind and preventing leaves from being in our yard, he told me. His other solution was my new neighbor should use the exact fencing as there's a fence directly behind him that has a pool and connect directly to that one, which clearly I have no say-so about. Throughout the conversation, my house, as well as the house next door, were up on his projection screen, as we referred to the property lines on multiple occasions. Before I walked out, he asked me if I also lived on Laurel Circle. I have very little confidence that anything out of the ordinary would happen, and fortunately for my new neighbor, he would breeze through the permit process. I reached out to the planning department and spoke with Stacy Carr on multiple occasions. She was knowledgeable and helped me as much as she could. I also spoke with Kyle Briding and Lisa Miller. Both answered my questions within the scope they were able. The fence started going up today. It is not that we didn't want him to have a fence at all, but there was a way it could have been done without disrupting the views of his neighbors, how we live up there, and the reasons why we bought these properties in the first place. We thought we had reached a compromise with the new neighbor, but since we didn't sign his paper, he said he was going to do it his way, and for the most part, he is. The request form that comes out to the adjacent property owners just really sets us up for failure. We wanted him to get a survey because we have always known that part of his driveway is on our property, and it was never a problem in the past. But by not signing his paper made him very angry. And of course, when he was informed that someone had come down to the building department and already asked about his fence, only made him more angry and led him to cuss my husband and I out in our front yard one day. A similar situation between him and another neighbor occurred a day before that. I was also under the impression that the property would be looked at in person prior to the permit being issued due to the drainage situation and because of the way the property lines come together. I've seen a city van pass by a few times, but I have not personally witnessed anyone getting out of the vehicle and looking at the property. While this fence might be allowable within the city's current codes, it will be an eyesore for many of the neighbors on my street, most of them retired people who take very good care of their properties. While I am frustrated with my new neighbor, I am more discouraged with the city's permit process, as it seems to have no protection in place for adjacent property owners. I spent a lot of time on foot in my neighborhood, running and walking, and have taken inventory of many properties that go completely against what used to be allowable here. What some of my neighbors are dealing with are far worse situations than the one I'm dealing with. I just wish the city cared more about property values and would look at this process more carefully. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Thank you, Ms. Dobbins. I handed my sheet over. So, real quick, your council person, Mr. Griffin, are you aware of the issue?
No.
Okay. Ward 3,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin is your council person. If you could reach out, he'd be the one to really move forward with that. All right, that concludes our citizens addressing council. I want to thank both of them. And we're going to hop into committee reports, and we'll start with street, sidewalk, and lighting with Ms. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. We didn't have anything to report tonight, so with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Beck. Environmental Health and Social Services, Mrs. Hager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Environmental Health and Social Services met in council chambers this evening, June 3rd at 6:05. We had a guest speaker, Moorhead, who spoke about scleroderma, June being Scleroderma Awareness Month. We had no request for legislation, no pending legislation, and with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Hager. Planning, Annexation, and Codes, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning, Annexation, and Codes has nothing to report. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. Public Welfare and Safety, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Welfare and Safety, excuse me, met on May 28th 2024 at 6:14 PM, and we had nothing. And with that, I pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Rules, Marketing, and Development, Ms. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Rules, Marketing, and Development Committee met on Tuesday, May 28th, here in council chambers. Everyone was present, and we had one new request for legislation, a request from Safety Director Eisman to amend the door hours for a special Magics Ready to Learn event on September 8th. This was motioned out of committee. We also had Scott Wagner from the Barberton Community Development Corporation with us, and he shared more about what the BCDC does and how they help the economic development here in Barberton. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, Ms. Gerhart.
You're welcome.
City Utilities, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Utilities has nothing to report. With that, I pass.
Thank you. Mrs. Thompson, Finance and Personnel.
Do you want to do Parks and Recreation first?
Oh my gosh, did I skip one? Okay, it's all right. We can.
I mean, I'm fine to go.
Well, hold on, just in case. City Properties, Park and Recreation, Mr. Cheatham.
Just forget about the Capricorn kid.
I got markings all over my paper. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Properties, Parks, and Recreation, after all of that, has nothing at this time. So with that, I pass.
Well, thank you, Mr. Cheatham. Well, it's very important because if something was referred. All right, let's go to Finance and Personnel, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, council as a whole passed 3 ordinances, 46, 47, and 49. And then this evening, we met at 6:16 here in council chambers. We are calling for the following legislation. First being a resolution supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial. Emergency wording and 1 reading requested. And also legislation to authorize the mayor to enter into a 1-year renewal contract with Wicker Insurance Company. And we adjourned at 6:19. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our committee reports. I have nothing to report. Is there anything from the body? Ms. Thompson?
I have a couple things, actually. First off, just want to say happy birthday to Mr. Griffin.
Happy birthday.
And secondly, now that summer is in full effect, please be mindful of where you're driving. Watch out for children. The library has a bunch of awesome events going on. You can look at their website, their Facebook page. I know tomorrow they're doing, maybe not tomorrow, Wednesday, they're doing a summer kickoff, doing tie-dye and stuff like that. So a lot of fun things for the kids if you want to share that, or if there's someone you know that would like that. Hopefully it's a good summer for everybody. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Is there anything else?
I have one.
Ms. Beck?
This weekend is the second Saturday Arts and Music Festival put on by Main Street Barberton. Please, please, please attend. We've worked really hard on it. I think it's going to be fantastic. There's tons of different bands playing throughout the whole day. It starts from noon to 7. All different kinds of music. Country, rock.
Polka.
Polka. There's a polka person, so if you like it, it's there. So please come down.
I can do a mean polka.
Oh, there's also live artists doing live art things. There's vendors selling their art. We hope for this to grow and grow and grow and rival Port Trucker someday in the very near future. That's it. I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Beck. Fedora makes that a lot better, too.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else from council? Department heads? All right. Mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank the Barberton VFW Post 1066 for hosting Change for Change last Friday. Raised over $350, right around $350 for Barberton youth football and cheer. Met with representatives from the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services last week, looking into various programs to help our businesses with workforce development and how we can collaborate on filling vacant positions in Barberton. If we're able to do this, this is obviously going to lift the whole community by more jobs, making sure that there's retention, making sure that businesses don't move out of the state. because they're looking for employees. So this helps us all here in town. Last week, we did welcome the grand opening of Hi-Fi Hardwoods, or excuse me, Hi-Fi Woodworks down on 2nd Street. They moved in a new facility across from the former Hiss Bakery facility. So anticipate a storefront in the next 6 months or so, but they're ready to move forward. So congratulations to them. This past Friday, we joined the Barberton Pickleball Organization at Tuscarora Park. Over 46 people were there playing at 9 in the morning, had a tent set up, food, coffee. People from Barberton, Mogador, Greene, Talmadge, Stowe, Wadsworth. So great representation of the courts, and the courts are really being used. Just huge. It was great to see so many people there interacting and having fun, and from a wide variety of different communities in the area. Still taking submissions for the artwork for the wrapping of utility boxes, so a few more weeks on that. Piggybacking off of what Councilwoman Thompson said, her comments, summertime, please be careful. Kids are running around, kids are trying to have fun. It's nice weather out, a lot of construction projects. Even though it's illegal, I still see a lot of people driving around holding their cell phone. And now the laws where officers can pull you over if they see that. So I'm not sure how many people, it appears that not a lot of people understand that that's the law now. So I see it all the time. Open office hours at the Active Adult Center this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The music festival Saturday as well, so we're hoping for good weather too, knock on wood. I ask that you keep John Lazar and his family in your prayers. He's recently passed away. He was a former councilman and an attorney here in Barberton. Passed away the other week. Just lastly, please keep the Akron community in your prayers as they continue to recover from the mass shooting this past weekend. Don't know what the answer is. Reach out to the mayor. Just keep everyone in your prayers. It's a lot going on, and they're searching for answers right now, and the investigation continues. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions. Yes.
Any update on the Newell Street project? I know that you said the last time that the foundation was looking at the price per acre stuff. They still doing that, or
Yeah,
what?
still doing that. I met with their economic developer today. They haven't set a price yet. They're going through some steps to continue to market the property, though. So, but it's never been listed with an agent. But it is on Team Neo, Job Ohio radar. So, any other questions? All right, thank you.